Jumping in. Happy Wednesday to everyone. One more minute. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started? I am Dan Misla, Director of Catholic Climate Covenant. I'm happy to welcome you to this webinar, this session on the Synod work that we hope that we count on all of you to help the Church grow and advance its teaching on creation care, linking that with migration, immigrants, and their story as well as with young people and in some cases with bishops. So this is a very exciting time for us, and we're so glad that you've stepped up to join this effort. Um, if you don't mind, go ahead and put your name in the chat to introduce who you are and where you're coming from. And we'll just have that in a scrolling chat, and then we'll get started. Joining us are my colleagues from Laudato Si movement, Anna Johnson and Alyssa Wright. They're going to be taking on the bulk of this webinar, so we look forward to hearing from them. But as you're doing that, let's take a few moments to just put ourselves in God's presence and let's pray for the success of this meeting, but also the success of this entire effort. So this is a prayer from the Leadership Conference of Women Religious. It's similar prayer to the Vatican Synod on Synodality opening prayer. So let us take a moment, take a deep breath, pause, and give ourselves some room to let the Spirit enter our hearts. We pray, we stand before you, Holy Spirit, as we gather together in your name. With you alone to guide us, make yourself at home in our hearts. Teach us the way we must go and how we are to pursue it. We are weak and sinful. Do not let us promote disorder. Do not let ignorance lead us down the wrong path, nor partiality influence our actions. Let us find in you our unity, so that we may journey together to eternal life and not stray from the way of truth and what is right. All this we ask of you, who are at work in every place and time, in the communion of the Father and the Son, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. Alyssa, turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Dan. And so, to speak a little bit at first today, it's such a pleasure to see many people who are on our webinar about the Pope's new encyclical. It's so nice to see many who were involved on pilgrimages or however you come today. And so, first, I'm going to speak a little bit about why Synod. Many of us are familiar with the synodal process, but I want to highlight in 2025, thousands of Catholics went into creation on pilgrimage to connect with creation, connecting not only with God, but also with God in creation. So from this, we see that there's a need. And more Catholics, we continue to see this work as important. And as many of you know and have experienced, the ecological crisis continues to worsen. Yet, we see that there is a lack of accompaniment within the church, the grassroots, priests, bishops, or many other, as I would call, grassroots leaders, whether that's chancellors of schools or so on and so forth. So therefore, we propose implementing the synodal process as a way to open a space for spirit-led conversation and future accompaniment. So we were inspired by the Vatican Study Group 2 following the 2024 report for the church to listen more intentionally, for the cry, yes, study group 2, thank you, Ginny, is to listen more intentionally to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. And many long for the spiritual accompaniment for their local church in responding to this crisis. Maybe in your own reality, you see of houses that have burned down due to water fires. You see flooding that's impacting your livelihood, impacting the houses, impacting your neighborhood. And so as we approach this within the synodal process is one way to get the conversation started within the church, to really connect grass tops, our church leaders, our school leaders, with the grassroots, the members who are most impacted by the crisis. So I ask, please feel free to share in the chat about what resonates with you or what's exciting about as we start this process. What are you hearing that, like, this is what we need in my community? This is what going home, we need to have these conversations. This is exciting because maybe you're going to be able to speak to people you've never had the experience to encounter. So feel free to please share in the chat as well. And it's lovely to see there's many people joining us from many different parts of the states. So always a pleasure. So I want to go ahead and go along of what is our plan with this? Maybe you come to this and you're really questioning, what is kind of my role? What can we see? And what is the importance? What considers a Care for Creation synodal listening session? Cry of the Earth and Cry of the Poor Creation Care listening session. So this is a small group of 6 to 8 people who are meeting for 1.5 hours, so 90 minutes. This is held during the season of creation, September 1st through October 4th, including key participants, frontline communities, Hispanic communities, young people, migrants, bishops, and grasstops leaders, as we'll discuss more about later, and discussing the realities of climate change and the role of the church. We will also be providing a discussion guide, and later today in this call, we'll be able to share with you our first version of our toolkit to help support this process. Now I'm going to share a little bit about what are some local grasstops examples. So for parishes, if you're a creation care team, a Laudato Si circle, or any other parish-based group, this could look like priest and parish boundary front lines, universities, so presidents, administrators with students, who could even be students who are particularly studying environment, even our congregations, sisters with local communities, leadership with sisters concerned, etc. So our grasstops is really based on what is your current reality, where are you positioned, and who are those people that need to be included in the conversation to hear. And I see your question in the chat, Terry. We'll have some time at the end for Q&A as well, but just want to make sure that I acknowledge that I see that. So really, what are our outcomes? After these listening sessions, facilitators will submit a report form from their conversations. These reports will be synthesized and then published as an assessment of the current realities of climate change in the U.S. Published report will then be shared with the U.S. Task Force on the Synod and with the Vatican. This report will also be included for review in the fall 2027 bishops meeting. But it's very important that this is not only something that becomes a report. Often we write many things, and especially in the church, we're like, oh, well, we have all these reports. What are we going to do with these reports? This is what is so special about being able to collect this data, because not only will this help you as a leader in your local parish to greater assess what are the needs. Maybe you have a question of why are my Hispanic folks in my parish, why are they not necessarily participating in creation care, or what are their concerns? And so really, from this synodal listening session will help build a deeper sense of community, but also understanding. We are all invited to grow, to learn more. And this could even shift the trajectory of planning in your parish, planning in your community, in your school, of what do your goals look like after listening? What can be the metrics post-listening? So as many of you are joining as facilitators, as hopefully soon to be facilitators, and I speak a little bit more of the expectations of facilitators. So as I see going on in the chat is to host at least one synodal listening session during the season of creation, which is September 1st through October 4th. And work with and invite your local bishop or grasstops leader. So this also includes your priest, your your university leader, and so on and so forth as well. And that can be discerned, and we'll speak a little bit more about that later. And invite and organize with key participants: young people, migrants, Hispanic community, and frontline community. Just to make a note that our frontline communities also include in the definition environmental justice communities as well, which may be a question. Is definitely if you're in an area where many folks are impacted by the environmental crisis, they're also part of that frontline community um, session as well. And attend training sessions as needed. At the end, we'll also speak more and share the registration for our upcoming training sessions. And complete and submit a report back form, which is super important. We really want to make sure that when you guys are doing this process and we hear about your synod and you're able to host it, is that we have feedback as well that can be incorporated in the report altogether. So we also have support to facilitators. So this can feel scary. And maybe this can feel like, oh, this is such a big thing for me to be a part of. How in my small parish am I going to be able to do this? But we want to support you. We want to accompany you alongside this journey as well. And so we'll have training sessions, which also include conversations in the spirit, a toolkit of resources, including tips on outreach and key participation, a discussion guide for the synodal listening sessions, alongside ongoing support as needed. Also in your own network, many of us here are fellow facilitators as well. So being able to provide support to each other also. And I see in the chat, yes, of course, feel free to still invite your local bishop as well if it fits with his schedule as well. So as we are thinking, I want to invite us a little bit to envision this. Sometimes when we get told big things, it can seem like, okay, where am I going to go with this? How is this? This feels like a lot. We're talking about environmental justice communities. We're talking about youth and young adults. We're talking about bishops, priests. What does this look like? So I want you to envision yourself as you're in the middle / your synod planning team, and start thinking about who in your local community, as you know, name your bishop. When you're thinking about your parish, when you're thinking about your parish boundaries, when you're thinking about where your university is located, where your school is located, is what diocese are you in? Think about who that bishop is. Think about in your area of historically redlined communities. Maybe you have a parish ministry that helps support those individuals alongside as we're thinking about migrants and farm workers, depending on where you're based. I'm based in New Mexico in Cruces. And so definitely we have many different ministries for our migrants and for our farm workers, or different external organizations that also help support. So we'll also dive deeper in this as well. And so also think about geographically, where are you located? Are you near to any extraction sites, AI data centers, factories, brownfields? Think about in your area if there's any indigenous communities that you could be invited. Is there a parish in your region that's also specifically in the area of your indigenous communities where your brothers and sisters are? Think about what high schools are near you, what youth group is in your parish, what young adult group is in your parish. Think about universities in your area. If you're based on the East Coast, there's tons of different universities as well. Think about what are your Catholic universities, your Catholic schools, your Catholic high schools. And also think about synod support. You have your facilitator, your note taker. Maybe you have multiple note takers if you're doing a huge synod effort, or if you're doing a smaller, as we'll speak more about that. And so this is just a little bit of brainstorming right now to make this big idea of synod, of how we're all doing these synods together on different levels, as well as I see happening in the chat. We have a level that's going on at the bishop level. That's like intentional outreach to the bishops to be involved in this process, but alongside at the local level. Because we know not only, yes, your bishop is very important in your diocese and in your region, but also if you're a creation care team or a circle or a parish ministry, we know how significant it is to have a priest that's also involved in this. But in order for that, we need to be in the proximity of encounter. So if you're thinking about all these different folks in your area, is where's your space to encounter these folks? Is it to go to one of their ministry events? Is it to invite them to coffee? Or is it even to identify them? Maybe you have never met with the universities in your area. Maybe you have never met with the Hispanic ministry at your parish. So Synod not only is about having this listening and this transformative aspect occur, but it's also about this encounter. Us as people, as we spoke on the our webinar with about the encyclical as well, is that this importance of encounter is huge. And so think about as you're thinking about your network and you're brainstorming who is in your region, who is in your area, who is in your parish boundaries or in your university boundaries. Really think about it in the spirit of encounter, of genuine curiosity, that all of us, we're walking in this earth and we're different people and we have different opinions on creation care, on cry of the earth and cry of the poor, different lived experiences. But we all share in this faith, in this spirit of synodality, to be shared in this one faith. So as you're really thinking about these people, I really invite you to think about that. What are ministries? Who are people maybe you even know in your personal life, to be able to go and speak to them, to invite them into this process, whether that's as a note taker or a facilitator. As well, maybe you have a friend at another parish or another university that you want to encourage them to do a synod as well, to reach out to their network as well. So this is just a little bit of a tidbit of the tip of the cake a little bit. And so now we're going to have Anna, who's going to share a little bit more about what does this look like? What does the building look like with our grass tops? And later we'll also be able to dive a little bit deeper into the grassroots as well. So I'll hand it over to Anna.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. And it's really exciting to be with all of you. I see many amazing faces that I know and love, and excited to meet some other new people too. Um, as Alyssa said, this process is coming out of the pilgrimages process and hearing what we heard feedback from all of you who engaged with it. A lot of you on this call did engage with that process or have been joining since then. So whenever you joined on board, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Um, Part of, as I think we all know, the initiative of Pope Francis of really rooting our church in this idea of synodality is working to make each other see each other as human, right? So often it's a sense of we can get frustrated at each other, but how often are we taking into account what's on the other person's plate or what concerns the other people have or what else might be in the case, right? And so, as we think about these conversations, it's going both up the church hierarchy to our priests, our university presidents, our high school presidents and principals, our leadership and congregations, who have a lot on their plate, and then down to the frontline communities, these other communities that are impacted, young people who hold this on their plate. And so often I hear, I know from our groups, from our circles, I wish more people were joining us. I wish that our actions were more impactful for responding to the crises. And what the encyclical showed us, and what so much of this is calling us towards into, is saying by entering into relationship where we're flattening the table for this 90 minutes for us to meet each other as human, this is our opportunity to make sure that our work is rooted in the realities that we're facing and is helping build bridges across the church. So thank you for doing this. We see this as an essential next step for building it forward. We recognize it might feel like a small event, right? Many of you on this call, I'm seeing you've organized pilgrimages with 100 people. You've organized events with hundreds and tons of people being there, right? And that's incredible and is so important. And this intentional sitting down and having these conversations in the spirit is also essential for the transformation that needs to happen. So it's really a both and in this phase. So, the other thing I'll just name is that some of you have been on a number of these training calls, right? And thank you for that. We were really trying to seed initially outreach to bishops, and so we're excited to see you continue to be on this page and on this phase to make sure that we're getting our bishops involved in these conversations too, and that some of the language today will also be thinking about these other hierarchical levels, so priests and presidents and principals, Mother Superior, etc. So, what we're going to do now is just spend a little bit of time talking about empathy. Now, I know I don't need to teach a lot of you about empathy. A lot of the people on this call, your empathetic hearts shine through so bright. And so, just hang with me as we walk through this and we can talk through it a little bit together. But Alfred Adler said, empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. For us to really do this work of caring for creation, we have to be working and striving to understand who else is on the boat with us and what are they dealing with and what are they hoping for and how we can move through this together. So, if we are all children of God, then are we not called to see each person as a full human being in their fullness? And what we're going to do for the next 25 minutes is to spend some time doing some empathy mapping of the people we're trying to invite. So, thinking up the hierarchy, thinking up to if you're inviting a bishop, if you're inviting your priest, if you're inviting your university president, first name to yourself who is that person. And really, I urge you, write a name down. Write the name down that you're doing in this for this exercise. A theoretical practice of this won't work really well. So write a real name down. Who is that hierarchy person that you're going to invite to this synodal conversation? So if you've got a piece of paper and a pen, all the better. So I'm excited to see you all like writing down. Used to be a fourth grade teacher, so write the name of the person. What is their role? Maybe an initial sense of like what is on their plate. Maybe it's my parish or the whole diocese or the university. And then the second question here is, what do you hope this person understands? Maybe it's that the ecological crisis is accelerating. Maybe it's that we have deep concerns for our future on this planet. Maybe it's I'm worried about my kids or my grandkids and their future. Um, Maybe it's that there are people in the parish boundaries who are already suffering from heat islands or otherwise. What do we hope that this person understands? Okay, now that we're starting to get this to move forward, and we'll send these slides out later. So if you're working on a team in this, then you can work through this with your team as well. But now to dive a little bit deeper into that empathy mapping piece. We're going to move through different parts of the body and what they have to teach us. So in terms of this person's eyes, thinking about it that way, and the quote, see with each other's eyes, what do they see? What do they see in their immediate environment where they live and work day to day? It could be colleagues, it could be part of the natural environment, certain pictures that they choose to put in their offices. What do they see in the church? A stressor we know we all feel to some extent. What do they see in the market as they're trying to get their own needs met and are trying to meet the needs of whatever institution or organization they're working to support financially? What do they see others doing in their lives? Maybe their sister or brother, parents or children. Okay, I'm looking at you, all of you. Give me a thumbs up when you feel like you've got a good grasp on what your person sees. Seeing a couple. I'll wait for a few more thumbs up. Awesome. Great. Thank you. I really appreciate the visual response. Oh, what are they watching and reading? I forgot I had another one. What are they watching? What are they reading? Where are they getting their news? Maybe we know, maybe we don't know, but all right, we'll move on in a second. I heard a couple of people just joined, so welcome if you just joined in. We're talking about our synodal sessions, our synodal listening sessions that we're hoping that will take place starting during September 1st to October 4th, the season of creation, maybe going until the end of the year, whatever timeline you need to make happen. Um, but we're doing a little bit of empathy mapping with our grass tops invitee. So whether that's your bishop, your priest, your university president, your congregational president or lead, um, so forth. All right, so now we're going to go to the mouth on the empathy mapping space. What do they say? Both what have we heard them say and what have they posted, written, preached about? What have we heard them say that seems to matter to them? If it's about ecology, all the better. If it's about the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor, all the better. But if not, then like what do we hear them talking about a lot? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up when you feel like you've got a good grasp on this one. Thanks, Terry. All right. Moving now to ears. Moving around the head. I have a 1-year-old and she's just learning where her ears are. So you are already ahead of her. Good job. What do they hear? What do they hear others saying around them? What praise and perhaps what complaint? Something I know about people in hierarchy positions is that they get a lot of complaints. So what complaints are they hearing? What gratitude and praises are they hearing? What are they hearing from their friends and family members? What are they hearing from colleagues or people they supervise? And what are they hearing secondhand? We all know the rumors about so and so is doing really well at that, or this is lacking. And now moving down to the hands. What do they do? What do we see them doing? What do you think their day to day involved? Like the 17th of June, what do you think their day to day involved? What were they doing? And what behavior have we observed them doing when we're around them? What do they do when joyful? You know, where do they go on vacation? How are they spending their free time? And what do they have to do that's on their plate? Meet with boards of directors, meet with finance councils. Maybe those are joyful for some people. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up when you feel like you've got a good grip on what they do. Thank you, Sister Lucy. Great. Thank you. Okay, so this is like what we're able to observe about the people. Now, here's where we take another step into the empathy space of it. We're going to go a little bit of guessing what they might have on their mind. Um, Knowing that we can't know this about anybody except ourselves. I want to name that caveat from the get-go, but similarly to how we want to know any of this for any of, I spend a fair amount of time trying to understand what's on my child's mind. Um, Anybody that we care about, how much can we understand what's on their minds? So let's start on the challenging side. What are their stressors? What are the frustrations? What are the challenges? What are the squeaky wheels in their days? What are the problems that are in front of them? And you all are really smart people, so I imagine you might know the next question is the flip side. What are their hopes, their dreams, their joys, their desires, their wants? What do they want for the world and their work and their vocation and their ministry, right? If we're working within the church, so many of the people who work within the church or choose these roles feel a calling, a vocation into it. What does that calling come from, and what are they hoping to achieve through embodying that, through agreeing to step into the leadership role? And so maybe you didn't all expect to be doing a worksheet in today's Zoom call. Thank you for doing this worksheet. We really appreciate it. Now, as we think about issuing an invitation to this hierarchy leader, whoever you've named at the top of at the top of this exercise, does it feel more achievable? And does it make a little bit more sense about how this invitation to the synodal session might help them achieve their hopes and dreams and joys and wants, or to face and help resolve some of their stressors or frustrations or challenges? I know, for instance, priests and bishops and presidents, they're busy people. They are very busy people who are holding a lot of things. But this work of synodality is so deeply rooted in the gospel, and it's so deeply rooted in how we are called to live our faith. And so many of these people in leadership do this because they want to help grow the faith. They want to help grow the sense of us being impactful in the world and living out our gospel calling. And so the invitation we offer, if we can ask the invitation through this lens, then they're more likely to say yes, to make time for it, and to come with an open heart to experience the process. So, with that, here's another little image of what we just did. Um, but we're going to go into breakout rooms now to chat with each other a little bit, because there's so much we can do within our own heads of brainstorming through this, but then we know that we move forward in community. As the new encyclical says, we have to be in community as we think this forward, and then in community as we work to embrace the fullness of humanity that's in front of us, dealing with the problems of today, reading the signs of the times. So in your breakout rooms, we invite you to discuss what might a synodal session look like in your community. What are you thinking about? When Alyssa led us through that mapping, who were you thinking about inviting? Who do you think you might partner with to be either facilitator or note taker? Who's the grass tops person? And what do you think might motivate that grass tops participant to say yes to this invitation? And then the important naming it out loud, how and when will you issue this invitation? When will you invite this person, and get that date written down so that we all follow through with it and do it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and make some breakout rooms. Alyssa, are you making breakout rooms? Amazing. Thank you. Please go and enjoy your conversations.